All right, I'm back, family. So we got to ask ourselves these tough questions: are we coming in the spirit of Alexandros? Are we coming in the spirit of Antiokos? Or are we going to come in the spirit of the Most High Yah and His only begotten Son, Yahushua? So from here, we're going to skip down to verse 16. Now, when the kingdom was established before Antiokos, he thought to reign over Mizraim, that he might have the dominion over two realms. So now that Antiokos is settled his primary kingdom down, the rulership over the children of Israel, he has turned his sights on the kingdom of Mizraim. 17. Wherefore he entered into Mizraim with a great multitude, with chariots and elephants and horsemen and a great navy, and made war against Ptolemy, king of Mizraim. But Ptolemy was afraid of him and fled, and many were wounded to death. Thus they got the strong cities in the land of Mizraim, and he took the spoils thereof. So what we're seeing here, family, is another example of the spirit of Antiokos. And we see that in this nation that we live in right now, in many Western nations, is that they believe that they are allowed to conquer, they are allowed to take and pillage and plunder whatever they desire, if it is on their spirit to do so. And that's simply all that happened. It was on his spirit to go take over Mizraim. So that's what he did. Family, if you co-sign the things that this country does abroad, you might be walking in the spirit of Antiokos. If you reject the ways of this country and the heathen and all their practices, then you may be walking in the spirit of the Most High Yah. We have to ask ourselves during this season of dedication, who are we dedicated to? Are we dedicating ourselves, our family, and our life to the Most High Yah? Or are we dedicating it to Alexandros, Antiokos, and the ways of the heathen? These are all questions you have to ask. I can't answer them for you. You have to reflect. You have to think about it yourself and understand how you feel. And if there are things that you don't like how you feel about them, then we need to change them. Changing is doing what? It is repenting. And Yahushua told the adulterous woman to go and sin no more. Come on, family. Are we walking in the spirit of Antiokos, or are we walking in the spirit of the Most High Yah? Verse 20. And after that Antiokos had smitten Mizraim, he returned again in the 143rd year and went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude. So his appetite for conquest, his appetite for death and destruction and war was not even satisfied with Mizraim. But he came back to Israel and to Jerusalem to go to war again with the children of Israel, to come against them. Again, never satisfied, always kind of bloodthirsty, thirsty for blood and death. That's what everything that this country and the Western nations and the other nations of this world, that they thrive on. They thrive on conquering and conquest and rulership and having their way. Having their way. A lot of this is Alexandros and Antiokos wanting their way. Not to do things the way the Most High Yah asked, but their way. So we've seen him come against the children of Israel. Let's find out what he does to the sanctuary, and then we're going to talk about it. 21. And he entered proudly into the sanctuary and took away the golden altar and the menorah of light and all the vessels thereof, and the table of showbread, and the pouring of vessels, and the vials, and the censers of gold, and the veil, and the crown, and the golden ornaments that were before the temple, all which he pulled off. 23. And he took also the silver and the gold, and the precious vessels also. He took the hidden treasures which he found. Family, with some years ago, and this project was, we recreated the temple of Yahuwah. And now we see Antiokos deciding he wants to proudly just stroll right up into the temple, and believes in all his pride, in all the pride that he has, being prideful, that he is allowed to do that. Unclean and all, defiled, not even a believer of the Most High Yah, but he believes he can just waltz up into the temple and just begin to take things. So as Gentiles, there's a spiritual meaning to what Antiokos has done. Okay? Took the menorah. What the menorah symbolizes in the temple is Yah's light. Because this menorah lights up the entire temple, and there is gold throughout the entire temple, so that this little bit of light turns into a great light because of all the gold and all the precious metals within the temple that Antiokos now has robbed and has stolen and has taken those away. So spiritually, he is trying to take the light of Yah away from the children of Israel. He also took the altar of incense. The altar of incense is what allows our prayers to go up before the Most High Yah. In the physical and in the spiritual. This represents our lungs. This represents our lungs. Our prayers are like the altar of incense. So Antiokos is trying to take the light from the children of Israel. He's trying to take their righteous prayers from them. Then also he takes the table of showbread. And what is the table of showbread? You have 2 loaves of bread. And what is that symbolic? That symbolizes the Old Testament and the New Testament. That can also symbolize the first 5 commandments and the second 5 commandments. But all in all, the table of showbread represents the Torah. The Torah being within the temple. So Antiokos wants to take now the Torah from the children of Israel too. And we saw, you can see it, they want to take the Torah. They don't want the Yehudim to circumcise their children. They don't want them coming before the Most High and praying in righteousness so that our prayers can be heard through the Ark of the Covenant, the Ark of the Testimony. All these things were taken. And family, I spoke significantly about immersions. This copper basin represents immersions, represents cleansing ourselves before we go into the temple. This copper altar represents when we sacrifice the things of this world, or when we sacrifice things for the Most High Yah. All these things, and I don't even have all the veils and the golden ornaments and all the things that he took from the temple. But what I can tell you it symbolizes is, he wants to take the Most High Yah from the children of Israel. He wants them to go into the ways of the heathen, which we know Yahushua said we're not supposed to be doing that. So as Gentiles, we have to ask ourselves, are you coming in the spirit of Antiokos? Or are you coming in the spirit of Hamashiach? Okay, I have a couple of examples to throw out to you. Family, there are Gentiles out there. I've seen them. Who claim various things. Okay? When you claim that you have been grafted in, or that you are a Hebrew Israelite, when in all actuality you're a Gentile, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to say? You're coming in the same spirit of Antiokos.